Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking sunscreens which have been tried, tested, and independently verified at delivering the SPF that the manufacturers claim. You guys have been asking me so often in the last couple of weeks, which are the sunscreens we can trust? Which are the ones that we can reach for and know that we're getting the SPF protection which is stated on the bottle? Now, I think this has come about because of some recent scandals in the sunscreen community, which I'll leave a link to up there, a video I did on that, where quite a few sunscreens have fallen foul of independent testing and been proven to not deliver the actual SPF that the companies claim they deliver. That's after a lot of people questioning the SPF they might be using or trying to find out more about those that have been third-party independently tested. There's no comprehensive list out there, so it can be really hard to find some. So I thought I'd pull together a video today which lists a whole load of independently verified SPFs. So whichever one you choose, you know that you're getting the SPF protection that's stated on the bottle, and that's so important because I don't think there's any more important step in our skincare routine than the SPF, and getting that right is crucial. So I've got lots of different recommendations today for different skin types, different considerations, and of course different price points. So if you're interested in finding out some more SPF recommendations, keep on watching. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of it and the recommendations, I do want to caveat this with two different things. First of all, obviously the SPF protection is only as good as the way that you apply it and the amount that you apply. So I always say to people, make sure you're applying enough of your SPF and you're applying it to all areas. Never forget the tops of the ears and the eyelids. These are two areas where we've seen a real increase in skin cancer rates because people always seem to miss them when they're applying their sunscreen and SPF. Also, apply the right amount, turn over and listen to what the manufacturer is saying on the back of the product, and make sure you're using the right amount to cover the area in a robust way and get the right level of SPF. Second of all, this channel, I said in 2021, would be going completely cruelty free. I've tried my best to make sure that all the recommendations that I make on this channel from this year onwards are cruelty free. I'm going to make a small exception in this video. Whilst I am going to be giving you some great cruelty free options, and I'm going to be calling them out as we go along, there are some that I mentioned today which aren't entirely cruelty free, and I'll leave some links to some websites where you can check them out if that's something that matters to you when you're making your purchase. I'll obviously call out the fantastic cruelty-free ones, but the reason I'm making a small exception in this video is I think that SPF is so important that really the first thing we should look at when we're purchasing a sunscreen before any ethical considerations is that it's delivering the right SPF. Beyond that, you can then make your decisions as a consumer, and I'll be calling out some fragrance-free options, cruelty-free options, and of course some drugstore priced options as we go along. But I wanted this video to be as inclusive as possible because I think it's really important to get the right SPF. Now, first off, I want to start with Korean and Asian sunscreens. The reason I want to start in this region of the world is because a lot of the current, scandals and issues are emanating from Korea, where a number of famous Korean sunscreens have failed to live up to the SPFs the manufacturers claim they would deliver. This has left a lot of people shook and not wanting to purchase Korean sunscreens, which they previously loved because of the lightweight, elegant texture, but also this has kind of got a bit wider and encompassed the whole Asian sunscreen market. I don't think that's entirely fair because, let's be honest, there isn't a region of the world that hasn't had a previous SPF scandal. America had quite a few years ago. The UK had a fair few in the 90s, and so this isn't a Korea-specific issue. And so I want to start off with some tried and tested Asian sunscreens which do live up to the SPF value. Number one has to be this. This is the Biore UV Watery Essence. This was one of the ones that recently was tested by the Korean Institute of Dermatological Sciences and passed as rated as above an SPF 50, which is what is claimed. I love this product. Biore don't test on animals themselves, but they do sell into mainland China, which is something to consider if you're looking for a cruelty-free option. I'll link some more information below. I'll actually leave links to all of these products if you do want to purchase or read more about them in the description box below, so check those out. This one is so good on the skin. It has got a significant amount of alcohol in. That means it goes on in a more luxurious texture, it blends better, and it gives a nicer, more elegant feel. But it might not be applicable for people that want to avoid alcohol in their sunscreens, but also might not be great for those that have super dry skin because it could exacerbate the dryness. For someone like me who has oily skin, this can be a really good alternative. It's not too expensive, and that alcohol will stop it clogging the pores and will just dry the skin a little bit, which can be beneficial if you have excess oil. I really like the way this goes on. It has got fragrance in it, so if you're sensitive to fragrance, I've got some fragrance-free options coming up. But overall, I think it's a really good sunscreen. It gives that lightweight, easy, cosmetically elegant feel on application, but it delivers the SPF you want. So, a tick in the box, a win-win. If we're looking to other, that was Japanese, so Biore are a Japanese company. Korean companies do have some tried and tested sunscreens as well. This one came out really well in testing, which is the Thank You Pharma Sun Protect Water Cream. This isn't one that I've reached for a lot, but I have tried it. It's got fragrance in there. It's a very nice fragrance, but again, if you're sensitive to fragrance, you might want to miss out on it. But it's a really, really nice product. SPF 50, it goes on as a lightweight formulation. It's not too heavy on the skin and it blends really well. It doesn't have as much alcohol in as the Biore one, so this is much more applicable for people with dry skin, as well as those that have combination or combination oily skin, because it's not too hydrating either. It's just a nice all-round product. I would say it's slightly on the expensive side for the amount of product you get. It's a reasonable price, but considering you only get 50 mils per tube, I think it's quite expensive. So it's definitely a face SPF rather than one that you'd use on the whole body, but is a really great option if you still want to stick to your Korean sunscreens, but this is a really great option. Again, with Korea, another one that recently passed independent testing by the Korean Institute of Dermatological Sciences was the IOPE sunscreen, the Defense Shield. Now, I'm going to leave an image of it there because I haven't personally tried this one. It can be a little bit hard to get here in the West. A lot of people are asking if one product from a specific brand passes, is tried, tested and verified, does that then apply to all of the other products within that brand? It doesn't, and this is particular to IOPE because they have quite a few different products, of course, and sunscreens. Now, it doesn't actually apply to all of theirs. It's, one product which has been tested. However, I take the view, and this is a personal view and one that you'll have to make your own personal call on, that if something like the Biore, the watery fluid, passes, then their other versions, the gel version of some of their other sunscreens, are probably okay too, because this demonstrates to me that this brand has worked with a good manufacturer that's delivered the correct SPF and that they've been able to verify that and deliver to the SPF that's stated on the bottle. So that gives you a confidence in the company. Whilst you can't be 100% sure that it applies to every single sunscreen within that company's remit, I do think that can give us as consumers a little bit of confidence, but that's something you'll have to make your own mind up. When it comes to IOPE, it's a really nice formulation. It's not as alcohol filled as the Biore, though it does have some drying alcohol in there. They're a really great Korean brand and much easier to get in Asia than they are here in the West, but you can get it. I think you can order them on Amazon. I'll find a link and I'll leave it in the description box, as I will with all of these products. Now, that was what I call my Asian selection. The ones if you want to shop for those lightweight, elegant feel Asian sunscreens, there's some really great options you can reach for. I'm now going to share with you my current go-to. These are the ones that I'm using every single day in my skincare routine. I like to mix and match between them, so I'm going to share them today. And this is where we've got some really great cruelty-free options that are definitely certified as cruelty-free. They're neither tested on animals and they don't ship into mainland China. Some of my favourites do actually come from Decium, which own brands such as Neod and The Ordinary. Let's start with The Ordinary sunscreen. Now, this one is tried and tested, which is fantastic. I don't personally like this product and reach for it. However, I am including it in this section because I think it's a great, really affordable drugstore option. If you want a mineral sunscreen, the majority that we've talked about so far have been chemical sunscreens. If you want a mineral sunscreen, this is a really good one to reach for if you want to stick to within a tight budget. It comes in at around £6 here in the UK, $8 in the US, so it's super, super affordable. I do find it goes on with a really heavy white cast, so it's probably more applicable for people with lighter skin tones. You do have to really work into the skin to avoid it looking too ashy. It can as well be a bit thick and greasy when it comes to take off, so you need to do a double cleanse to really get this product off. However, I mention it in this video not because I use it every single day, but because it's really affordable, and I think everybody should have access to an affordable sunscreen, and this is a tried and tested, verified one if you are on a budget. It's mineral, so it's nice to have a mineral option, and also it does work for some people. I think you just have to, accept its limitations, that it will be a little bit ashy on the skin, and it does take a little bit of time to sink in before you then apply things like makeup on top of it. Now, it's much more elegant cousin. This is from Neod. So we've got The Ordinary, which tends to be the drugstore equivalent within Decium, and Neod is their slightly more expensive, slightly more luxury and better formulated products. I love, love, love Neod, and their Survival, which is their antioxidant and sun care range, is so, so good. They do a few versions. They do the Survival Zero, which is just a pure antioxidant with no SPF protection. They then do a Survival 10, which has a SPF of 10, a Survival 20, which has an SPF of 20, and a Survival 30, which has an SPF of 30. I tend to alternate between the Survival 20 and the Survival 30. They actually released all their data and testing on the product, which is so transparent, and I love, love, love that about a company. So you can read up about how it was formulated and how they reached the SPF value. And the SPF values are actually in excess of what's claimed on the bottle, which gives you some confidence and some margin. You know, when it comes to applying the product, it gives you some margin to work with in case you don't apply it just perfectly. So the Survival 20 actually comes in at an SPF of 22. The Survival 30 comes in at an SPF of 34. So I think, again, that's really good that they're over delivering against what they promise. I've got here the Survival 20. Both of these are mineral sunscreens, the 30 and the 20. I actually think, like I say, I use them interchangeably. The 20 gives less of a white cast than the 30, as you'd expect, because it's got less mineral filters in there, but both of them blend really well on the skin and have a very light tint to them to offset that white cast. So even if you're using the Survival 30, I don't think, unless you have a very deep and rich skin tone, that you'll notice much of a white cast on there. It goes onto the skin really well. It's got a lovely pump formulation, and let me just show you that on the skin. It's got a natural tint to it, so that's some of the beta carotene in there from the antioxidants, and this glides in, as you can see, it disappears straight away. It's unfragranced, it's completely cruelty-free, which is fantastic if you're looking for a cruelty-free option. Like I say, fragrance-free if that's what you're looking for in your sunscreen, and it is so elegant to use. That is matte now and completely disappeared. It glides onto the skin, it feels so good, and you're getting 15 different versions of antioxidant protection as well. So it's like double the sun and skin protection from those UV rays and other forms of wave light, such as blue light. Just an all-round amazing product, and I definitely recommend you try it if you want to push the boat out, want to spend a little bit more on your sunscreen. Now finally, for the ones I use day in, day out, this is the Skinny's SPF 30 Sun Gel. So this, again, tried and tested by the authorities in New Zealand, and came out with flying colours, passing both its UVA and UVB ratings, which is fantastic. They actually tested the Conquer, which is the SPF 50. I like the SPF 50, but I go day to day with the SPF 30. Whilst this one hasn't actually been tested, it goes back to what I said before of I'm happy to trust the brand. If they've had one SPF which has passed muster, passed that independent verification, then I have confidence in their manufacturing and their standards as a company. And so I think that can carry forward onto other products. Though again, I'll leave that up to you, as it's a personal decision to make. This is the SPF 30, which goes on so gorgeous. It is super concentrated, so a little does go a long way. I actually get questions. They say to use a pea size amount, which a lot of people question and say, should you be using a pea size amount when it comes to SPF? I actually think you can, if that's what the manufacturer says and is tested. So this manufacturer tested the SPF value using their own instructions, which was the pea-sized amount, and that delivered the SPF which is on the bottle. So you can of course use more if you want to, but you can get the level of protection using a pea-sized amount because it's so concentrated. It's formulated without water, which almost none of the other ones are. I say this works best for people with dry or combination dry skin because it is the most hydrating of all of the sunscreens I have ever tried. It's got shea butter in there, which is gorgeous, and it will just give you that gorgeous hydration. On oily skin like mine, I didn't find it clogged me, which is fantastic. Didn't break me out and didn't clog my pores, but it did go on it gave a slightly glistening feel halfway through the day. So I use this when I'm not wearing any concealer or anything, and I can just go out and enjoy a light glow, a natural glow from within, but I don't find that makeup and concealer goes on particularly well on top of this one, so I'll call it out. 100% cruelty free, and they do a reef safe version as well. If you're using it in the summer and you want to swim using it, they do a reef safe version as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Now I'm going to come on to the other tried and tested. I'm going to whiz through these because, you know, I've got a lot to cover. I want to go into in depth with the ones that I've just mentioned because these are the ones I've tried and tested, so I can give you the feel, how they apply, some more information. But research has shown there are lots of other ones, sunscreens, which have passed independent third testing. I do want to whiz through them a little bit quickly now. So first off, let's start with P20, which is a European-based company. All their sunscreens have been tried and tested, and people are going mad online for the P20 Kids sunscreen. This one does leave a very heavy white cast, but it gives you that rock solid cast iron guaranteed protection. It's good enough for children, you can use it on yourself, and I would definitely recommend you check this out. I know that Sylvain Laurent, I hope I pronounced his name right, though my French pronunciation isn't great, over on his channel, which I'll leave a link to below, raves about this product. I do want to try it at some point, but it's not a brand I've reached for before. It is tried and tested, and definitely will recommend it if you don't really care about about the white cast. If it's all about the protection, you could try this and know that you're getting that cast iron verified protection. Similarly, La Roche-Posay is so popular at the moment with that Anthelios range. Again, I hope I pronounced that right, but this is super lightweight. Not all of them are chemical sunscreen, so you won't get that, you won't get any white cast whatsoever, and it's compatible with almost all skin tones, and people have been going mad for this. I think it's slightly up there in price, but again, I don't think we should always be scrimping on our sunscreens. If you can afford good sun protection, then of course, paying a little bit more, you do get a more elegant feel to the application. If you can't, then there's some great drugstore and budget alternatives. I highlighted the Ordinary earlier as a great option for those on a budget. You should definitely include the sunscreen, but if you want to push a little bit more, then the La Roche-Posay offer a really great option. The Inculist are a firm favourite brand of mine. British, fully cruelty-free, which is great, and fragrance-free as well, which I love. They do a SPF 30, which has a slight tint to it. I used this maybe like a year ago. I actually did a review of this on the channel, which I'll leave a link to up there if you want a bit more information. People went mad for this when it first launched. It is a bit on the thicker side. It is a mineral sunscreen, so it does give a white cast, but that tint does offset that. I find with tints, they work really well on my skin tone because I've got quite a light skin tone, which I think tints work better with. If you have a darker or deeper skin tone, even olive or darker, I'd say this tint might not work for you. It probably won't be the right shade, which is kind of one of the issues when you're using a tinted sunscreen. It doesn't quite work for all skin tones and types. So this one is great if you're lighter skinned and will give a really nice matte finish. Now, Badger sunscreens, I love the name and I love the little image. Badger sunscreens are available here in the UK in Holland Barrett. They're available in the US at health food stores generally, and they're quite big over in Canada and Australia. These are 100% cruelty-free and tested and delivering a fantastic level of protection. They do a different range. I like the sport one. If I'm going to be out in the sun, like on the beach, and I want heavy duty, going to work, going to give me that locked-in sun protection, their sport version is so good. Yes, you get a white cast, but you know what? You're guaranteeing that protection. And on the beach, I don't think that's a bad thing. So this is a really great option for kids. It's a really great option for people that want to maximize their protection when they're in an intense sun environment, such as the beach, or maybe you're going out and about sightseeing in a hot country. This is a really great option for you. A lot of people have been asking me to try the Ultralist sunscreens. Again, a brand which has been tried and tested and published their data on their sunscreens, which I think we should applaud. I think it's fantastic when brands actually want to publish their data, so that transparency gives us confidence as consumers. They do a range of SPFs, which is great. I haven't actually tried any of them, but you guys have been fangirling hard for them. So I put some on order because I want to try how they work. General consensus is they work best on drier skin types because they give a little bit more of a glossy finish that some people with oily, acne-prone skin might not want if they find that they're a little bit greasy by midday. This might not be the one for you, but for dry skin, it goes on, it hydrates, and people have been saying how fantastic it is for their skin type. I would like to call out Paula's Choice. Again, Paula's Choice went through some really robust testing. A lot of people called Paula's Choice out recently because they had to change their SPF claims on some of their Australian sunscreens. Now, that led to a lot of people saying, oh, is that because they're not actually living up to expectations? It's not. It's because moisturisers that contain SPF have to be regulated in a different way in Australia than proper standalone SPFs. A lot of them are moisturisers and SPFs, which is why they had to change the packaging to comply with Australian laws. It doesn't mean that they're admitting their SPFs didn't deliver, and actually under testing, they did deliver what was expected from them as sunscreens and as a brand. So, love Paula's Choice. Again, totally cruelty-free. They do fragrance-free options, which is fantastic, and there's a baffling array of them, but you can choose the right one for your skin type. So I think that gives people that nice choice. If you're oily, there's one for you. If you're dry, there's one for you too. So Paula's Choice is a really good one to reach for, and I've left a link again to my favorite one below. Finally, I want to end on a couple of, should we say, slightly controversial ones. Let's just end on a couple of controversial ones. First, I want to call out Cooler. So Cooler, again, have gone through a process of real vigorous, tried and tested verification on their sunscreens. They did a little bit of a reformulation earlier. They were caught up with some of their sunscreens in the past. They did a reformulation and then have really locked down on making sure that everything is signed and sealed to make sure you're getting that right level of protection with any of their products. Again, you've got some really great options with Cooler. Most of them them are very heavily fragranced. If you like that, that's great. They do spray versions, which I'm not a huge fan of a spray sunscreen because I always think you spray you and you're actually spraying everyone around you at the same time. But if you like a spray, they've got some really great options there, and it's a brand you can look for. They're a bit on the pricier side, but they look bougie. If you want a bit of luxury, most of them are like coconut scented. If you want to go away to that tropical island, just spray yourself and everyone around you in coconut, this is a really good option, and you're getting that verified protection. Finally, I'm going to mention Ren, which is their clear, clean mineral sunscreen. I'm including this because if you want a clean sunscreen that has a clean skincare, clean beauty logo, then this Ren one is a really good option. This works really well with people of deeper, more olive skin tones as well. I hear a lot of people say this can work really well for them, even though it's mineral, doesn't leave that real heavy white cast. So this is a nice option if you have a darker skin tone. I find it goes on completely matte, so great for people with oily skin. It's just a really nice product. Slightly up there in price, I would say. But again, if you're looking for that clean skincare label, if you're looking for something, if you're olive skin toned and you want something that is mineral but won't leave that white cast, this could be a really great option for you. I'm going to explore some other, do a little bit more research. This has taken a lot of research, and I'm going to leave links to a lot of the studies that I mentioned below, so you can check them out yourself if you'd like. It's taken an awful lot of research, so if you'd be kind enough to give it a thumbs up if you like this, and hopefully this has just helped you explore some really great options for sunscreens, which are tried, tested, and verified, so you can get that confidence in the product you're using. But there's some fragrance-free options, there's some cruelty-free options, good for darker skin tones as well as those that won't leave too much of a white cast. So hopefully you found this useful. This isn't a comprehensive list. It was never going to be a comprehensive list, but if hopefully it's given you some food for thought and some options to choose from. I'd love to know. Leave me a comment below. Are there any from this list that you've tried and want to share your thoughts on? Are there any others that you want to share that I didn't mention? Leave me a comment below. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.